The genesis of using controls in our LED retrofits in the city of San Jose is that in 2007, our mayor adopted a San Jose Green Vision. That was a 15-year plan to set up a roadmap to build the city to be a sustainable city, to reduce our carbon footprint by 50% in year 2022. And so in doing that, in 2008, we changed our streetlight policy. In it that we needed to look for different sources of lighting so that we can get the energy savings as well as materials that are less hazardous for our environment. Currently, we use LPS and HPS, and when we dispose of those, it leaves the carbon footprint, right? There's a hazardous waste disposal. And so in looking for that is trying to find technologies that will do away from it. And then so really the energy savings is really the premise. Us having LPS already in the city, what do we do what solution can we look for that will help us gain and achieve the additional energy savings? Because we all know that LPS is a relatively energy efficient light source to begin with. And so with that, then it's what else can we do? So one of the things is, I think we need to look into dimming our lights. And that's how, we started looking at control systems. So we decided to engage an outside lighting consultant because one, this is a very new area to us. We did not have the expertise in-house to help us do the research, to analyze first whether white light technology is right for us. And even that, at the time, we were looking at, is it going to be LED or is it going to be induction? And the second point is that, with the control system, we wanted to see what's the maximum level that we can take that. How much dimming can we do? And that's how we then, in 2010, we engaged a lighting consultant to help us in this endeavor. Okay, so with us then deciding that we're going to go with the LED technology and with the control system, we wanted to make sure that our general public understands and has a buy-in of what we're doing, right? So here in San Jose, it's very critical that when we do major policy changes like this, that we do have meet with our constituents and get their input. So community feedback, and at the same time, because we have Lick Observatory in our backyard, it was very crucial for us to work with the Lick staff as well on this new white light that may have implications on their astronomical research. And to what level can we, what kind of lighting can we use, right? Is it induction? Is it LED? Again, like with the control system, how much dimming can we do? Okay, so during the community engagement, what we did was we actually closed off a road about a mile, right? And we installed different types of technology. We had 5 different lighting. We had 3 LEDs, actually 6 different types of lighting. We had 3 LEDs, 1 induction, 1 1 LPS, and 1 HPS. And all those fixtures were equipped with control systems. And it was a 2-night event. We had about 110 participants that came out and gave us feedback. So when they started the tour, they were given, a survey where they would complete as they walked down the street, and they would evaluate the type of lighting level that kind of felt comfortable to them. So it was really subjective. And then when we reduced the light by 50%, it really wasn't even noticeable. So that's when we felt like, okay, this is the right direction, because then that gave us that confidence that if we are to lower or dim our lights, that our general public will not be able to detect it. And along with that demonstration project, with our lighting consultant, we also had Virginia Tech come out and help us with the small target visibility test. So these participants, our general public, were allowed to or asked to participate by sitting in vehicles that were equipped with certain equipment that as you drove down a street, you're detecting objects at different lighting levels. So that kind of gave us a better perspective as well. And so the reaction from the general public is that they liked more of the warmer lights, so closer to the 4,000, 4,100 range. Things were harsher, higher up. Really was too blue for them. So that's what we learned. And like I said, just dimming 50% was a really great thing that we achieved through here, through the demonstration project, and just the acceptance of LEDs. Well, currently our specs calls for 4100 plus or minus 300. So we're getting lights that are less than 4000. And, we're pretty happy with them at the moment, but that doesn't mean that we would stop at that, because technology with LEDs, we know it's still emerging, right? And so we want to keep an open mind there. But also, though, with our ornamental fixtures, like our post-op fixtures for pedestrians, we have actually not converted those just yet, because we're waiting for the right technology. We're waiting for the right fixture to go in its place. And when I mean technology is that when we put in control systems in those ornamental fixtures, is very different than putting control system on our luminaires, right? Our roadway is very different. It's just the makeup of it. How do you put a control system inside the casing, the housing, and all that? So we've kind of held off on it, but this definitely is our next step. And when we do that, we're also going to try to look for warmer temperature, because many of those ornamental lights are in our residential neighborhoods. Some of them are in historic neighborhoods. And so to maintain that character and that look of the warmer light, then that's what we want to see if we can get something in the 3,000, 3,500 range. So the energy savings in the areas that we've installed so far is that we're anticipating 40% energy savings. It's just at this moment, I don't have the true numbers. These are numbers that we've calculated and that we've seen on some of the bills that we received from our utility company. But because we recently deployed a larger amount of lights, about a third of our city, we have 63,000 in the city. So during the last deployment, we had about 18,000 lights. During that effort, we needed to take our lights off the server and had our controls consultant kind of take over. In doing so, essentially, they kind of took control of our inventory. We're trying to clean that up, get everything trued up, and from there, we're going to have a much better sense of our actual energy savings. But we are, expecting it to be 40%, and this is without dimming. So with dimming, we're expecting to get another 10 to 20%. I mean, keep in mind that we're going from LPS, right? So I know the agencies that are going from HPS are probably going to see a much higher savings, but we already are starting with a pretty energy efficient light source to begin with. So that has been our challenge. Okay, so through our efforts with our lighting consultant, we developed what we call San Jose Public Streetlight Design Guide. And it has 3 parts. One part is about how do you design new installations. Second part is how do you design for replacements. And the third one is the one about adaptive lighting. And then so in there, and based on the demonstration project and based on studies from CIE, is that we're dimming our lights up to 50%. And it would be from the hours of midnight to 5 in the morning. And we're deploying that throughout our city. It's just the downtown core that we need to do further analysis. So the plans for the future is that now that we've gotten a third of our city converted with controls, our goal is to convert the rest of the city within the next 3 years. And so currently what we have out in the streets is a very creative and innovative request for proposal. And this is one that I don't think we've seen in other places. And it is really an effort of getting public, us partnering with private companies to help us convert the rest of the city with no capital outlay. And in return, what happens is that these companies can come in with proposals that, they can say they want to share in an asset of a city facility. It could be naming rights. It could be, it's pretty open. So, I'm very excited to look forward to what kind of proposals we get. Our experience with our local utility, Pacific Gas and Electric, has been very cooperative in that they understand that with the city of San Jose, we're not just converting our lights to LED, but to the smart LED, with the controls. So one of the things that we did earlier on was that we engaged PG&E and try to make a case in front of California Public Utilities Commission to change our rates, to change the PG&E rate, to include not just an LED rate, but an adaptive rate. Because to us is that right now we are paying on a flat rate right? So we're not metered. So for us to take that extra step and invest in controls and really not get the adaptive rate for actual usage, it really doesn't mean a whole lot to us, right? So in order for us to capture those energy savings, we went to PG&E and said, well, how can we consider being part of a case where we go in front of CPUC and try to make a rate change? And so in response, then Pacific Gas and Electric right now has in place a pilot program, and it's called Adaptive Rate Pilot. So far, San Jose is the only participant. We're in the phase 2 of that pilot, and it really allows PG&E to get comfortable and test out our control system, test out what kind of data our control system provides, and what sort of usage are we looking at. Can we make a case to create a new tariff that allows us to pay based on usage? So really changing a rate schedule. I think the lessons that we've learned in our deployment has been very educational. In every step of the way, it's almost like every day we learn something new. But I think what's critical is really understanding your system, understanding what is it that your resources, right? So for one, at the city of San Jose, we decided that because we have such a robust fiber infrastructure, that we wanted to host the server, the communication management server in-house. So for smaller communities, smaller agencies, perhaps that's not the best route to take. And I would recommend that depending on the size of your agency, that you look at your resources. I mean, even with us, even with that robust infrastructure and with the resources we have, I find that it's difficult to get a system commissioned and get the staff trained in time. I think it's going to take some time to do so. So those are just things to just make sure to keep in mind. The other thing is that as we're rolling out these projects, we understand that it isn't all going to happen at the same time. So be really careful about looking for a system that allows for interoperability. And that's what we're looking for here as well. So, we have a current system, but if with subsequent projects that come forward, can other systems also interplay with our existing system, right? And so that allows for better scaling up of projects.